Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television, live from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bable Jonathan. The case of Professor Maurice Kamto and other leaders of the CRM political party is taken to the international. The political leaders have been detained and the lawyers have tabled the case before the United Nations Organization, and the director of the Dedo District Hospital here in the economic capital of Cameroon, Douala, is sacked by the Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malachi, in connection to the death of a student who was stabbed by his friend, a student of government bilingual high school, Dedo, here in Douala. And the corpse removal took place today in the absence of authorities. Cameroon's Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malachi, has sacked the director of the Dedo District Hospital here in the country's economic capital, Douala, in connection to the death of the student of government bilingual high school, Dedo, who was stabbed by his friend, and the mortal remains of the late student, Rosemont Chanu Blerius, was removed from the Dedo District Hospital today. A huge crowd converged on the Dedo District Hospital today for the removal of the corpse of the dead student. The student was stabbed to death by another student who is said to have been dismissed from the government bilingual high school, Dedo. That was last year, and the student, after he was stabbed, was rushed to the Dedo District Hospital, but unfortunately the medics who were on duty could not save his life. A mammoth crowd converged on the Dedo District Hospital today for the removal of the corpse of the students over 18-year-old, the 18-year-old student Rosemont Chanu Bleriot. And of course, we noted the absence of local administrative and even educational authorities at the Dedo District Hospital mortuary today. And now to the Douala 4 subdivision, where a woman was burnt to death today in her own home allegedly by her husband over a quarrel concerning the piece of land on which the house of the woman was constructed. Suman Jikan Gabriel has more.
It was a sad way to end the week for the inhabitants of Espoir City, Bojongo, in the Douala 4 subdivision. In this burnt structure lies the lifeless body of a 44-year-old woman by name Beku Marie, who hails from the West region. According to the lone child of late Beko,
quand il dormait à 2 heures, ma mère m'a appelé. Il m'a dit que
it was at about 2 a.m. when his mother asked him to go close the door that was half open. But on going there, he realized that someone entered with a bucket and a machete. He then ran out using the second door to call for help.
C'est pour ça que alors contenu de la casse, je suis sorti, je suis allé appeler le militaire et certains gens. Ils sont venus que le feu avait envahi toute la maison.
Unfortunately, upon his return, there was flames all over. A neighbor recounts the atmosphere before the incident.
The evening, when I was coming back from the market, I met Mr. Edouard in front of my house. So he greeted me and I accepted. I asked them, you people are enjoying yourself? They say yes. I entered inside my house. When I entered the house, I did not even come out again. Around 5 o'clock in the morning, I was surprised to hear my phone ringing. So I picked the call. I said, hello. It was my neighbor. that was shouting, "Emerencia, where are you?" I said, "I'm in the house. Come out. There is something happening." I said, "What?" That me said, "Do I have killed the wife and put fire on her body inside the house?" That is when I came out of the house with my husband and the children. So unfortunately, before us arriving here, there was fire that burned the woman until we cannot even see the woman. We cannot even recognize the woman.
But when asked if the man and woman had been in trouble before, the neighbor answered,
"She has a small problem with the wife for 2 months now. The problem even went to Brigade de Recherche and they tried to solve the problem out. So 2 weeks, Mr. Edward told me that he's not living down Mr. and Corner Amando. I say it's good. So unfortunately, this morning we found the disgrace that he has given us in Bujongo. So we don't know how they can even put this.
While waiting for an investigation to expose the real cause of the incident, the man we were once told was at loggerheads with his wife until he was forced to sign an undertaking never to beat his wife. After setting ablaze the house, he escaped into thin air.
Life is gradually returning to normalcy in the southwest regional chief town, Buea, one of the towns in Anglophone Cameroon highly affected by the deepening Anglophone crisis, and the mayor of that municipality, Ekema Patrick Esunge, has been at war against Operation Ghost Town. He has been taking a series of measures and actions to make sure that inhabitants of his municipality stop respecting Operation Ghost Town, especially business persons. Once more, Manjikan Gabriel has more.
After the ghost town that engulfed the town of Buea on Thursday due to threats from separatist fighters, Friday, life timidly returned to the regional capital of the southwest region. Around the Moliko neighborhood, though few taxis could be spotted circulating, some stores remained closed and few persons on the street. At class quarters in Buea, it was a different atmosphere we met, as most of the occupants of stores belonging to the council were opened and circulation of taxi fluid. Not too far from class quarters at the Buea Council, the mayor, Ekema Patrick Esunge, after declaring to shut down stores for 30 days if they respect the calls from separatist fighters to lock down for 10 days, was set to descend to the field. The mayor took off time to visit some neighborhoods in his municipality and exchange with some inhabitants. From every indication, life is timidly returning to the land of Buea.
And a correspondent in the city of Buea, Derek Jato, now takes a look at the devastating consequences or impact of the Anglophone crisis on state revenue.
Region characterized by sit-in strikes, known here as ghost town days or lockdown. Businessmen and women say anything commercial is on its knees, and so too the revenue into the treasury. Reason why at a seminar on the nomenclature of the Southwest Treasury accounts for the 2019 financial jurisdiction, Mr. Angola Bassi, Treasury Paymaster General of the Southwest region, reviewed the financial situation in his area of command.
It's true that the situation is not good as it was 3 or 4 years ago, but today we are trying to do effort with the support of the hierarchy, the support of all the stakeholders.
The head of mission from Yaoundé, Mr. Nji Donatus, a senior treasury inspector, said the government is not unaware of the hardship and measures have already been taken to reduce taxes on businesses that will reopen in the conflict-hit regions.
The government has instituted an incitement for businesses that closed up in crisis zone like the Northwest, Southwest, and the extreme North, that if they want to reopen their businesses, we are going to give them a tax break of 30%. I mean, that's an incentive to promote business people to reopen their businesses in this crisis zone.
The seminar had as primary objective to drill public accountants of the Southwest region on how to execute the 2019 finance budget, laying more emphasis on the innovations for proper implementation. The Southwest public accountants were also challenged to double their efforts, especially in revenue collection.
And gun battles have continued between pro-independence fighters and elements of the National Armed Forces, and of course the destruction of properties, burning down of houses and entire villages, as well as institutions, and also the kidnapping of individuals. The last case is that of the coach of PWD of Bamenda. The head coach of that football club was kidnapped earlier today during a training session, and of course until now his whereabouts remains unknown. And still talking about the consequences of the Anglophone crisis, the government of the Republic of Cameroon is in a war of words with non-governmental organization, Human Rights Watch, and of course the United Nations, and the figures of the international bodies are indicating that hundreds of thousands of Cameroonians have been displaced by the Anglophone crisis. But the government of Cameroon, through the Minister of Territorial Administration, Tanganji Paul, says less than 200 persons have been displaced by the Anglophone crisis, and the government is accusing the international non-governmental organizations of using the inflated figures, according to government, for some financial and personal gains. Here's an extract of the Minister of Territorial Administration, Tanganji Paul.
Statistics from administrative authorities and some serious NGOs working closely in close collaboration with the government show that there are about 152,000 internally displaced families in the two regions, and about 6,000 internally displaced in the West, Littoral, and Central regions. I read recently a document published by an NGO saying that we have more than 400,000 internally displaced people in Cameroon. That's total misinformation, and I can say it is fake news. It's unfortunate that some partners want to use the situation in the Northwest and South region to make business or to make gain. I don't know for what purpose. For instance, if you ask for 50 million euros to attend to IDPs in the Northwest and Southwest region, knowing that you need barely 10 million euros, the balance will surely take another destination. Inflating the number of IDPs presents another danger which can even jeopardize the sovereignty of the state. If in our records we have 152,000 IDPs, we have attended to close to 100,000. It means the situation is under control. But if you give the impression that we have 400,000, 500,000 IDPs, it's as if the load was too heavy for the government, and that the government will not be able to manage the humanitarian situation.
According to the government of the Republic of Cameroon, 162,000 persons have been displaced by the Anglophone crisis, but international non-governmental organizations indicate that over 400 to 500,000 persons have been displaced by the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest regions of the country. And the Minister of Territorial Administration, Tanganji Paul, equally made a balance sheet of the execution of the close to 13 billion francs CFA humanitarian aid for persons displaced by the crisis internally and externally. There are refugees equally in neighboring Nigeria. According to the Minister of Territorial Administration, the execution is well on course. Take a listen to Minister Tanganji Paul.
Noted that the Minister of Territorial Administration, who is in charge of the humanitarian action in the field, has for the past 8 months been on the field We have made about 60 trips to distribute the head of state's donations to IDPs in the Northwest and Southwest regions. We extended this gesture to other regions, littoral, notably in Douala and Kongsamba, in the West region, Galim, Bangoren, Magba, and in the Central region, Yaoundé. This report of 8 pages is a bilingual report which makes a summary of all what has been done in the field. It should be clear that the humanitarian situation is under control. The IDPs have been clearly identified and we are in the process of attending to them. We have a big warehouse in Douala, we have about 3 or 4 in Yaoundé and Bamenda. So the government has provided more than enough for the IDPs, and the head of state has instructed the Minister of Territorial Administration to intensify the distribution of this humanitarian aid. So in the next few days, we'll be on the field again to do the distribution.
International lawyers defending Professor Maurice Kamto, other leaders and militants of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement CRM political party have taken the case, pitting the accused and the state of Cameroon to the United Nations Organization. Dupont-Moretti and the law chambers submitted the situation or the matter to the United Nations Organization in Geneva, Switzerland. For me, Armstrong Sander has the details.
The Dupont-Moretti and Vey chambers defending Maurice Kamto and allies submitted the situation of their clients to the United Nations Working Group on Arbitrary Detention in Geneva, Switzerland on Thursday, 4th of April 2019. Writing to this organ of the United Nations, the lawyers described the detention condition of Maurice Kamto, Arben Zongang and Paul-Eric Kingi as arbitrary. The French lawyers say Maurice Kamto and 2 other opposition political party leaders in Cameroon, as well as their supporters and sympathizers, were illegally arrested on the 26th and 28th of January 2019 under diverse motives, which according to them is nothing but political repression. They claim that Maurice Kamto, Arben Zongang, Christian Pendai Koka, Paul-Eric Kingi, Claude Abe alias Vassero, and others were arrested in a completely illegal manner under various pretexts that in reality mask a desire for political repression. The lawyers record that the defendants are in a pre-detention as part of an investigation opened at the Yaoundé Military Court, which they think is not competent to judge their clients, Maurice Kamto and co. Considering what they qualify as the inefficiency of any internal appeal and the opposition of Cameroonian authorities to any form of dialogue, Maurice Kamto and co, through their French lawyers, have demanded the United Nations to note what they think is a serious violation of their basic rights, and equally asking the UN to demand for their immediate release. Speaking to the press during his most recent visit to Cameroon, Dupont-Moretti indicated that Maurice Kamto was ready to talk to President Paul Biya. The appeal court in Yaoundé is yet to decide on habeas corpus demanded by lawyers defending Maurice Kamto and co, while the CRM political party plans to storm streets in Cameroon in protest on April 13, 2019.
Cameroon's Ministry of Public Health sees in statistics that the prevalence rate of HIV and AIDS in the country is reducing. Minister Manauda Malachi, the Minister of Public Health, of course, has issued a release saying that those tested with HIV AIDS or tested HIV zero positive will be treated or taken care of free of charge as from 2020. Immaculate Fogwe.
HIV and AIDS remains one of the most deadly diseases in sub-Saharan Africa. Statistics from the Ministry of Public Health indicate a drop in the prevalence rate in Cameroon. According to the Ministry of Public Health, the rate has reduced from 4.3% in 2017 to 3.4% in 2018. At regional levels, the South region of Cameroon has the highest prevalence rate, which stands at 6.3%, with the East region coming up next with 5.9%. The Far North region has the least number of registered cases, with a 1.5% representing. HIV and AIDS treatment involves taking antiretroviral therapy and having regular checkup with healthcare provider who will monitor your health status on regular basis. Such checks are very necessary because with proper care and treatment, you can reduce your viral load, protect your health, and equally enjoy a long healthy life. The burden of paying for treatment has been tackled by the government, as the treatment of these disease will be free of charge. The information is contained in a communique released by the Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malachi. This initiative will help infected persons who have been facing financial barriers to be able to carry out their treatment without any worry.
Immaculate Fogwe reporting there on the prevalence rate of HIV and AIDS in the Republic of Cameroon, and the Ministry of Public Health says that the prevalence rate is dropping, and of course this is thanks to efforts of the mechanism put in place by the Ministry of Public Health as well as other partners and stakeholders in the health sector who have been fighting HIV and AIDS in the Republic of Cameroon. However, the prevalence rate remains considerably high, notably among young people in the Republic of Cameroon, and the situation remains practically the same as far as young people is concerned, despite efforts by government and other authorities. Coming up next, Talking Point. In this newscast, that's it for this edition of the news. Thanks for staying with us.